Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom surrounded by gentle rivers and rolling hills, there lived an old queen who had ruled alone ever since her beloved husband died many years before. Though she carried the weight of the crown with dignity, her greatest joy was her daughter, a princess as radiant as morning sunlight. The girl grew up kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and graceful, cherished deeply by her mother and admired by all in the kingdom. When she came of age, she was promised in marriage to a noble prince who lived far away in a distant kingdom. When the day came for her to travel to her future husband, the old queen prepared everything with trembling hands. She filled chests with treasures worthy of her daughter's status: golden goblets, silver vessels, sparkling jewelry, precious fabrics, and heirloom ornaments. She assigned a chambermaid to accompany the princess, trusting her to care for the young royal on the long road. And she selected 2 horses, one for the maid and one for the princess. The princess's horse, Falada, was no ordinary creature. He had been blessed long ago with the gift of speech and carried deep loyalty for the princess. Before their sad farewell, the queen pricked her own finger and let 3 drops of blood fall onto a white cloth. She folded the cloth and gently pressed it into her daughter's hand, whispering that these drops of her blood would protect her when she found herself alone in the world. The princess tucked a cloth safely into her dress, embraced her mother one last time through tears, and then set off toward her new life, unaware that her journey was about to twist into sorrow and danger. The morning was calm as they rode, but soon the princess grew thirsty beneath the warm sun. She politely asked her chambermaid to fetch water from the nearby stream using the golden cup she carried. But the maid snapped harshly that she would serve no one, and if the princess wished to drink, she could dismount and fetch the water herself. Shocked by her rudeness, but too gentle to argue, the princess knelt by the brook. As she drank, Falada murmured sadly, "If your mother knew, her heart would break in 2." The same thing happened again at another stream, and this time, as the princess bent to drink, the precious cloth with the queen's blood slipped from her dress and floated away downstream. Unaware of her loss, the princess mounted her horse, but the chambermaid had seen everything. With the magic protection gone, her wicked heart stirred with ambition. She ordered the princess to remove her royal gown and put on the maid's ragged clothes. Terrified, the princess obeyed. Then the maid forced her to swear she would tell no one the truth upon pain of death. Falada saw everything, but could do nothing. With cruel triumph, the false bride rode upon Falada, while the true princess followed on the maid's shabby, stumbling horse. When they reached the prince's kingdom, trumpets rang out in celebration. The prince, excited to meet his bride, rushed out and lifted the false princess from Falada's back, believing she was the noble woman he was promised. The true princess stood quietly in the courtyard, unnoticed among the bustling servants. But the old king glimpsed her from his window. Something about her gentle posture and soulful eyes stirred his heart. He questioned the supposed bride, who casually claimed that the girl was a simple servant she had brought along for company. So the king assigned the girl to help a goose boy named Conrad with the palace geese, believing it harmless work for a servant. Meanwhile, the false bride, fearful that Falada might somehow reveal her deception, begged the prince to have the horse killed. Though puzzled, the prince granted her request. The princess, heartbroken, secretly bribed the butcher with a gold coin to nail Falada's head beneath the large stone gateway she passed daily. The man agreed out of pity. The next morning, as she walked beneath the arch, she whispered, "Alas, Falada, hanging there," and Falada's gentle voice replied, "Alas, young queen, passing by, if this your mother knew, her heart would break in 2." Blinking back tears, the princess carried on with the geese, followed by Conrad. In the meadow, she let her long golden hair fall loose. It glittered in the sunlight like woven strands of pure gold. Enchanted, Conrad tried to pluck a few strands for himself, but the princess softly called upon the wind. "Blow, wind, blow. Take Conrad's hat and make him chase it till I have braided my hair." And immediately the wind snatched his hat away, sending him running until she finished tying up her hair again. This happened day after day. At last, Conrad went to complain directly to the old king, telling him of the mysterious talking horse head, the magic wind, and the Goose Girl's shimmering golden hair. The king, deeply intrigued, hid behind the archway the following morning and saw her speak to Falada's head. And then he followed her to the meadow and watched the wind chase Conrad's hat once again. There was no doubt this was no ordinary Goose Girl. That evening, he gently called her aside and asked her to tell the truth, but she shook her head sadly and whispered that she was sworn under heaven never to reveal her sorrow to any living person. So the wise old king took her to an iron stove and instructed her to speak her troubles to the stove instead. Thinking he had left, the poor girl knelt before the iron doors and poured out her story. Every detail of her suffering, her stolen identity, Falada's death, and the maid's cruel deceit. But the king had been listening through the stovepipe. When she finished, he opened the door, eyes filled with compassion, and brought her out with gentle hands. He dressed her in royal garments, restoring the dignity she had lost, and then he summoned his son. To the prince's shock and joy, the king revealed the truth. The girl tending the geese was his real bride. The chambermaid, pale with fear, didn't even recognize the princess she once tormented. A great banquet was held, and the chambermaid was seated beside the prince, unaware that her fate awaited her. After the feast, the king presented a riddle describing the entire story as though it had happened to someone else, and asked the false bride what punishment such a wicked person deserved. With cold arrogance, she declared that the culprit should be placed naked into a barrel lined with nails and dragged by horses until dead. The king stood and said solemnly, "You have judged yourself." Terrified, the false bride begged for mercy, but justice prevailed. Her punishment was carried out, and peace returned to the palace. At last, the prince took the true princess as his bride. Their wedding was a celebration unlike any other, filled with music, laughter, and the warmth of justice restored. Together, they ruled their kingdom with compassion and fairness, guided by the memory of the trials that had shaped their love. And so the princess, who once walked as a goose girl, became a queen who ruled with grace, humility, and wisdom, proving forever that truth, courage, and kindness triumph even over the darkest deceit. If you enjoyed this story of courage, kindness, and truth, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with a friend who loves magical tales, and don't forget to subscribe to Nini Nights for more heartwarming bedtime stories every week. Until next time, may your dreams be gentle, may your heart stay honest, and may you always remember your true worth shines from the inside out.